Alright, here we are for our second episode of my WoW vlog here. Um, I guess the news right now is Legion Remix has a date, so the remix is coming on October 7th with patch 11.125. I never played the MOP one, so I don't really know exactly what to expect with that, but I have heard that it's a great time to level up alt characters, so I'm assuming like the concentration army, crafting army thing is still going to be a thing in Midnight. So we might think about if we want to like power level some characters in the Legion remix. Um, Might be something I'll try. I'll at least consider. Um, but I'd like to still focus on doing stuff in the main game. So we'll probably try it out, see how we feel about it. Um, and see how like efficient that is to like kind of get new alts going. Um, as far as what I did this week, I started leveling up my second rogue, I suppose. I was gonna make a warrior, and that's why like my original character was a rogue, just because it would be easier with stealth to like gather stuff. But I unlocked this Cultiran race, which I was kind of thought was kind of cool. But I didn't like how they looked as a warrior for some reason. I prefer like dwarf warriors. So I kind of like made him a pirate. I thought that made sense. And I got that new pirate outfit from the Trader's Tenders, and it's kind of cool. So we leveled up our pirate rogue. I think we're like level 73 right now. And that's probably going to be the character I'll play as like my main character, I guess. That I'll actually try to like I don't know, do some content with and stuff like that. So, um, it's again, we're kind of not really following any kind of real spec. I just want my gun to do pop big damage. So just kind of casual gameplay with him, but at least I'll have like maybe a more of a concrete character to work on. I'll probably do like skinning leather working on him or something. That way, like I'm actively playing, I can do some skinning and have it not be too intrusive. Um, I also did some delves on him once he got to level 70. I did some delves. That's kind of a cool new system. Like they originally had like I think the scenario system, and that wasn't great. And then they like did that island expedition thing as kind of like low player count content, and that wasn't great. The delve system seems like it's another iteration on these ideas that's a little better than the ones before. I think the main thing I didn't like about it, I kind of like the modifiers and like how it's a little different, but um, like it clogged my inventory full of random items with random effects, and I kind of hate that. Like I wish I. I guess maybe if you get deep into a system and you can use some like consumables to help you through, that's like the idea. But I always feel like my bag gets clogged up with a bunch of random items that I don't know what they do. And I kind of like just never use them because they're like consumable. So I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that particular part, but everything else seems kind of cool. I do like the system. I'll probably do some more of that kind of thing. Um, as far as like the economic side of things, I'm still buying a little bit of transmog items, so like or like slow sell kind of items, I guess. And I'm still like posting all my old stuff and flipping all my old stuff. I haven't sold too many things, maybe like, four or five things, which is like, I don't have that many things on the auction house. It is over across four different realms, but it's split up a little bit, and I have duplicates. So, um, it's not selling, but it's not selling quickly, which is kind of like what you expect. Um, I did a little bit of an experiment with like the commodities, so I haven't really done too much with the commodity market. I'm new to like how that works exactly. It's not very complicated to like cross realm commodities, but I haven't really like tried to get into the meat of like manipulating that in some kind of way. So I did a couple of things where I like cut into the market that had a low volume. So I did like Major Oil and Swift Thistle, which really those things don't sell very much. But the like volume of the pricing all the way down to like 10 gold was like non-existent. I could buy out everything up to 10 gold. So I kind of like tried to like cut into the market and then repost and see if like that really worked. And I did sell some, like probably like I made money, but it wasn't like enough that it was necessarily worth my time. And some amount of that is just like the margin wasn't very good. But also like the sell rate of the items wasn't that good. Probably like um, if if the items like sold better, it would make more sense. Um, and also try like cutting in at a lower volume or doing something like picking a price and buying everything under that, and then like eventually reposting it or something like that. We'll try a few different things. It kind of worked, but it kind of didn't work. Um, so we'll keep iterating on that idea. The nice part about like buying like the low section of the market, even if it's not that much, is you can always kind of hoard it a little bit and wait to see if the price goes up and repost it, so long as like the graphs look good. You have to want to like pick good commodities for that, I suppose. Um, and in that idea, like we've been hoarding a little bit of items that I kind of liked the price graph of, things that had like high supply, low price against its historic price. So I think I bought a whole bunch of roseate pigment that seemed low, frostweed, starflower, Tolador orchid, the grand bloom, gorgon flytrap. I have a bunch of primals too. Things that like we're getting into that period of the expansion where um, like the activity sort of nosedives and the price of everything gets really low. And then once a new expansion comes out, usually everything just goes back up again. So we kind of want to like not only hoard stuff a little bit because yeah, housing's coming out and we know old materials are going to get used. But also like as soon as midnight comes out, probably a bunch of these things are just going to go up in general. So I kind of like try to look at things that were historically at a low price. Like I bought like 15,000 frostweed or something like that because the price on the market was lower than it's ever been ever in the recorded graph. So as far as I can tell, that probably only goes up, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Um, I did get a guy come into my stream and ask about like, hey, every time I look at like buying or making gold, it always is about gathering and stuff like that. Um, and I was trying to like answer this question in a way that made sense. Where like, yeah, gathering is like the best way to get liquidity, but all the guys who are making big amounts of gold, they're not farming unless they're botting or something, which we assume no one's botting, except for the bad man. So probably like you have to understand that like liquidity is like you spend time and get liquidity, but ultimately that's not going to make the most amount of money. And that's kind of like where I am a little bit in my like economic area. Like I'm not very liquid right now. I need liquidity bad. I keep like purchasing things and trying to make like a return, but I don't have enough inventory yet to like reliably make it a return. I'm hoarding things that are not actively for sale that I'm waiting for them to like be able to be flippable, and I'm like also flipping things at a very low sell rate. So we're at a point right now where I don't like get enough money coming in to like actively deploy with my time, and that's like kind of like where we want to be. We want to eventually be in a place where we have to decide the best use of our time to deploy our capital rather than like whether or not we have capital at all to deploy. So that's kind of like the idea right now is we're hoping to basically acquire enough liquidity that we can choose to not have to like use herbs and ore gathering as our main source of income, and kind of like have enough like inventory that it's regularly churning at a rate that is going to provide us with enough liquidity. So like that, some people ask like how I have my like sniper and things set up. So what we're going to do, just real quickly, I'll do a little bit of a like demo of how we kind of like, I've kind of like started to make this work. So you can kind of follow along with what I've done a little bit, and it's working so far, but there's lots of adjustments I want to make. So if we kind of like just pop over here. So we have my man. And of course we have groups and everything in here. So we have all whole kinds of groups. So when you download TSM, this is like empty. It just has like the base group. So obviously like getting to a point where we have all these things grouped is like a bit of a task. So all I've done and what you can do just to quick and easily set this up is there is a site here, the Trade Skill Master kind of group, like public groups, and there's a bunch of these groups that are created by this individual Mon Chi sub or something like that, and I think they were created for a creator, student Albatross, which I think is he's a gold making YouTuber. So all you have to do is find all these like groups that are pre-made for you, and there's a button here. It wants me to log in. I'm not logged in right now, but it'll say add to add-on, and it'll give you a thing to paste, a big blob of text to paste. And when you come in here, all you got to do is hit this import group button, and you'll paste the string. And it'll ask you if you want to import the operations. You can import them if you want to. I'm not going to do that right now because it's going to mess up. It actually replaces your existing operations if you do that. But all you have to do is paste that string into this import groups and operations kind of tab. And then your groups will be seated in the same way that they are here. So I just quickly, kind of quick and dirty, set up this kind of like pre-made group system, and I've already started modifying some of it with like dead items that I don't really want to ever see and stuff like that. But the main thing that people are asking is like, well, how do I set up my sniper? And there's lots of ways you can set up a sniper. I just did like a basic thing to get myself started. So you want to see what I've done in the operations setting in sniper options. I'm not like can necessarily show out. Well, I guess I could easily show how you would put this in a group. So if I want to apply a sniper, for example, to this miscellaneous category in operations, I would just go down to sniper and then select the sniper operation that I've configured, if that makes any sense. So in operations, in sniper, I kind of have my sniper operation here. And it's like, well, how do I snipe things? So I'll show you what I've done, the logic behind why I've done it the way I've done it, and kind of like things I want to try to implement in the future that currently are not implemented. So if I click this little button here, you can type in here, but this kind of opens up this like slightly kind of programming interface, which is a little bit intimidating. And I think if you import the operations that come with some of these groups, there's a big giant thing with a whole bunch of weird calculations, which I just got rid of because I didn't know what that kit was doing. So all we got here is this idea. This is an if statement. If greater or equal, this basically just says if it's greater than or equal to. So if first is greater than or equal to the second, then you return the third. So there's some nested if statements here. So basically how this kind of all comes together is first it checks to see if the item has a region market average of at least 5,000 gold. So basically if it's less than 5,000 gold, I don't want to fuck with it. That's basically like the idea behind this particular sniper script. So long as it's at least greater than or equal to 5,000, then it checks to see if the minimum buyout on this realm is at least less than 50% of the region average sale value. So if we quickly, for example, just run this here, I'll kind of show you a little bit how this is kind of working. just want a couple items here just so I can show you like the numbers. Come on, come on. Give me a few things. Of course. All right. Let's just pause there. So if we look at this item, it says the minimum buyout is 100 gold. The region market value average is 5975, so that's over 5,000. It's region market value is at least 5,000, and the minimum buyout is less than the region average sale value. So the region average sale value, that is how much players who are using TSM on average see us capture a sale. Either they're buying or they're selling of the item. So we have recorded sales of at least 346. So the idea here is that the buyout price is at least 50% lower than that kind of captured sale value. So it's at least like less than people are buying it for. And then the next part of this statement, item quality is 1. So basically all this does is removes gray items. So they have to be at least quality 1, which is white. And then it's also got a min price. So the price that we operate is a custom price source. And all this price source is, if you want to know what custom price sources, in settings here, custom price sources. So when I type in the word min price, that's basically a shortcut that means 30% of the DB region market average. So basically my total operation, where did I lose this at? My total operation says it's got to be more than 5,000 region market average. And again, we're using the region market average because to me, it doesn't matter what server things sell on. If this is worth X number of dollars across the region, I will just take the item and put it on a different server where it sells for higher if it's low on this particular server. So it's at least 5,000 across the region. The buyout price on this server is at least 50% of the price of what it sells for, and I only want it to show items that are less than 30% of the region market value average. So I'm only buying the bottom cheap items, the bottom 30%. So it has to be, in this case, it's roughly 6,000 region market value average. So it has to be less than 2,000 gold. It has to be, the minimum buyout has to be less than the region sale average. And it has to not be a gray item. That's pretty much all of this says. So this means there's going to be lots of holes. This is not going to catch all of the things. So there are future things I want to implement in here, but this is a quick and easy way just to like find a bunch of items that pretty clearly are underpriced. Maybe not the highest sellers, but at least underpriced. You can easily find some things to look for, look at, or try to flip. Now this is not the most efficient way to do it. This is kind of like a quick and dirty way of like where I've got it right now. We're going to continue to kind of tweak this and modify this in a way that kind of makes sense. So like what I want to do, for example, is add some commodities in here. This doesn't work well with commodities at all because usually they're a fraction of a percentage rather than multiples, for example. I want to remove more dead items. So like there's some items that just, again, their sell rate is so low that I don't want to be bothered for how little the return would be. So like I want to remove more dead items. I want to also like implement a sales rate floor. Now again, the sales rate here is only based off of TSM user data. But that being said, I want to like implement some amount of like rate control. That way, like if something is not really selling very well, the data will kind of show that, and then we'll kind of just not have to worry about bothering to like even see those items anymore. And like similar with like this particular item, like this caribou waistband, belts and wrists don't sell that well really because you don't see them very much on your character. So if you see this, it says region market value average is 6,000, but on average it's only selling for 346. So if I'm buying at 100, not very many people will be selling this at 6,000 for that average to make sense. So try to like maybe tune it to find items where the region sale average is closer to the region market value average, or at least a better percentage, so that these items are like likely to actually sell for the region market value average, rather than them kind of just being like having a market value, but it's kind of a ghost value that doesn't really sell. And also, like if we have something where we have a rate floor, then we might miss really rare items. So I kind of like also want to like make a list of items that are like pretty rare. Maybe you don't see that much, but have maybe a high price, some more specialized sniping lists. And these might actually work better with point blank sniper. So we might do some experimentation with point blank sniper to find like kind of like the upper echelon of items. And again, I don't like follow what other people do, or just kind of using this logic on my own and learning how to do this on my own. So that's kind of like why we're kind of starting from scratch. But I'm showing you everything, so at least there's that. With that, that's about where we're at for this week. Thank you guys for watching. A bit of a longer vlog, but I did provide some helpful information, hopefully, or a little bit my process, where we're going, how things are going. So, of course, we're streaming 5 days a week. Wow, to this YouTube channel. Also on my Twitch channel, Blood Boiler. Just Blood Boiler. We've been around for a long time. We got our full name as our Twitch channel. It's nice. Also, you can join my Discord and hang out there with some other players. And I appreciate your support. So until next time. Peace!